slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever.
Hey team, I want to go over how to break the 3-hour marathon in your next race. And I know a lot of you are very close. Maybe you're at like 304 or 309. I know a couple guys, one guy that I coach, he's done very well. Peter Steffen, he just recently ran a 309.01. And he's between, I think he's 47 or 48, I think. Phenomenal runner, extremely disciplined. And I know I have another athlete, another supporter of the channel who just recently ran a 304 marathon, and he's done very well. Benjamin Cornell is his name. Awesome athletes, awesome performances. It's a very select time to break the 3-hour marathon, and of course you do have to have. I think in order to do it and to do it successfully, is you have to be realistic with yourself, okay? Because if a general rule of thumb between what particular times you need to hit for, say, a 10K and a half marathon to break a 3-hour marathon, I would say anywhere under 38 minutes or around there for the 10K distance. And if you can break an hour and 25 minutes for the half, or right around there, give or take a few seconds, I think you have a very good shot of running a sub 3-hour marathon, okay? How to break 3 hours in your next marathon? It's a tough question to answer because there's so many factors in order to get it right. I think a long-term build-up, minimum of 4 months, but if you really want to get it right, 5 to 6 months, because the longer period of time you're giving yourself, the more adaptation, the time you know, as you're going through your training, you have to know it takes about 28 days for your body to adapt to the stresses you're placing on it. Okay, so if you're aiming to break 3 hours for the marathon, that comes out to 6:52 per mile for 26.2 miles, or 4:16 per kilometer for 42.2 kilometers. So you want to improve the body's lactate tolerance. Okay, so this isn't something that happens easily. The faster you're trying to run a marathon, the more complex it gets. I fully understand it, and I know how frustrating it can be for a lot of you that are maybe a few minutes away from doing it, or maybe you're further away. Maybe you're at like 350 or 345. I coached a guy that had a PR of 348 for the marathon distance, and he ended up running 258. So more than anything that I can share with all of you, besides just specific types of workouts or specific types of times you need to be at to break the 3-hour marathon barrier, the more important tactic I can tell you is just be driven and tenacious about what you're doing in training. If you're relentless and persistent enough, you are going to get there. You're going to break the 3-hour marathon barrier. And it doesn't matter if you're at 350 or if you're like in Benjamin or Peter's case, where you're at, like, you know, for Benjamin, he's at 304. Peter, you know, he has a PR of 302. He's running just about breaking 309 as a 48-year-old. I mean, these are extremely driven athletes, and all of you have that characteristic. You all have that trait. But to go under 3 hours, it's really more of a psychological barrier, I think, for a lot of athletes than it is just the physical aspect. Okay? Sometimes, and I'm just going to be honest with you, it may take you a decade to break 3 hours. The point is that you eventually get to that time frame. You eventually get there. Okay? The problem is so many runners stop too soon. You know, and maybe they get just so frustrated and they're like, I'm never going to break this barrier. I'm never going to get under 3 hours. Okay, remind yourself, you're going after a very select type of time. There are few runners each year that break 3 hours. It's even more difficult to get under 240 and 230, and very hard to get under 220. Very small amounts of runners around the world go under 2 hours and 10 minutes. Okay? but we all have to get there. And to get there, you have to start working on your mid-distance leg speed, working on your raw leg speed. The types of workouts that I was doing that helped me go from, get faster in the marathon distance was, some of my favorites was like 1600 meter reps on the track, 200 meter reps on the track with short recoveries, like 3 to 5 minute recoveries in between each one of the repeat 2 miles or 3200s. I know it's a little bit short of 2 miles is 3218 meters. If you're doing 1600s, you're 9 meters short of the mile. But again, you want to train to run under 3 hours. You want to train at paces that are well under 6 minute mile pace. Okay, spend some time on the track or on the roads or doing hill repetitions, running at like 545 to 550 mile pace. Okay, or running at like 330 to 340 K pace. Again, that's going to get that 652 mile pace or that 416 kilometer pace that you're trying to hold to feel more easy for you. Okay, that's why doing speed training workouts, doing strength training workouts, one strength training workout per week, working on explosive activities, box jumps, working on your core muscles, working on your upper body strength. Those types of workouts, sled drills where you're sprinting with, and a lot of runners don't necessarily have access to a sled, but if you do, you can put like a 45-pound plate on the back of the sled, tie it around your waist, and the sled's going to be back in the back behind you, and doing like all-out sprints with full recovery in between each one of those types of sprints. Any types of those types of workouts are going to recruit more fast twitch muscle fibers. Okay, slow twitch muscle fibers you enhance by doing more endurance work. So to break 3 hours, it's still vital to get that long run. Do some long runs, anywhere from like 20 miles, 32K out to around 40K in distance. Running it, but more easy, relaxed, just building that endurance, building that foundation of aerobic mileage first, and then spending some time running at faster paces, running at your anaerobic threshold effort, sprinkled in with some VO2 max efforts in the middle of your long run. Okay, and again, VO2 max, when I mean that, of course, you're running just about at max effort, but it might just be some fartlek sessions in the middle of your long run. So say you're doing like, if you're training for a sub 3 hour marathon, do like a 32 to 35K run, 20 miles out to like around 24 miles, or slightly longer. Again, it's just dependent on the athlete. I don't think to break 3 hours for the marathon, you necessarily have to go any further than 24 miles in length. Okay, so anywhere from around 18 miles out to around 32 to 35 kilometers in length is going to be sufficient for you to break 3 hours. But just don't get into the habit of running slow every weekend. Okay, again, you're going after, in my opinion, an elite time. Anything 2 hours 59 minutes and faster, you're just in a very small amount of the world population that achieve this particular goal. Okay, it's even more, like I said, it's harder to run at faster efforts. When I broke 2 hours and 20 minutes for the marathon, here in the United States of America, we have about, I think, 350 million people around there. When I broke 220, there were only 62 men in the entire country of the United States of America that broke the 2 hour and 20 minute barrier. I would say during that year, the athletes that broke 3 hours, probably, around a couple thousand, somewhere around there in the entire country, maybe 2,000 to 5,000 runners, somewhere around there. So again, it's a very select group of runners that can do this. But that's like I mentioned before, if you can get that half marathon time around 1 hour and 25 minutes and change, and your 10K around 38 minutes or slightly slower or faster, you're going to be fine. You build your weekly mileage. First, the types of workouts I focus on is first focusing on base building phase, and that should be, again, it's going to vary from athlete to athlete, but if you're doing, say, a 16-week to 24-week buildup, those first several weeks should be base building phase. And then you work into specific training where you're training more at your goal race pace or faster than goal race pace. So again, in this case, 6:52 mile pace or 4:16 per kilometer pace. The key training workouts I would focus on, as I talked about earlier, is getting that long run out to around 20 to 24 miles in length and spending some of those miles or kilometers in your long run running at goal race pace. Okay, an example of that might be a 32K run where the first 16K is easy and the last 16K is at goal race pace. Okay, you might have an easy warm up prior to and after that. Getting the tempo runs out between 6 miles and out to around 12 miles in length. Again, this is a longer race, so the more time you can spend training at your anaerobic threshold, the better your chances of breaking the 3-hour barrier. As I talk about in other videos too, it's very important that you think about the other strategies, the other tactics that other marathon runners that are trying to break this barrier maybe aren't doing. Okay, running the tangents in the race. If you have a right-hand turn coming up, you don't want to be on the far left-hand side of the road. Get in the middle of the lane. If you're running in a group, or to the far right-hand side of the road. Again, run the shortest amount of distance as you can in order to break in order to run the shortest amount of distance in the race. That will also help you to break the 3-hour marathon. Types of interval workouts I would really pay attention to is like I mentioned before, 1,600 meter reps. Example would be anywhere from running around 5:55 to 6:10 per 1,600 with about a 2 to 3 minute recovery in between each one of those reps. Okay, repeat 800s. Doing those between like 245 to 255 per rep, maybe 8 to 10 of those with like 60 to 90 seconds of recovery. Again, you want to give yourself more rest when you're not very anaerobically fit, and then give yourself less rest the fitter you become. Okay, marathon pace runs are also very, very important. Okay, if you're training for breaking 3 hours, getting to a point where you can do 12 to 15 miles in training at goal race pace. So in this case, I would revise, if you can work yourself to a point where you can get those marathon pace runs around at 6:50 mile pace, just a couple seconds faster than goal race pace. Okay, again, the longer we can spend running at our anaerobic threshold or closer to goal race pace, the better. Okay, but you also have to be very, very patient when trying to break the 3-hour marathon, because this is such an exclusive elite time. You're going after something so difficult, you're going to be challenged. There's going to be times where you're going to be a few minutes off. Okay, maybe you'll do a 4 to 6 month buildup, and maybe you'll run a 3:05, maybe you'll run a 3:12, maybe you'll run a 3:09. Keep doing it. Keep putting in the work. Keep training at paces that are several seconds faster than your goal race pace, and you're going to get it right. Okay, but more than anything, okay, there's a lot of things that can go into breaking 3 hours. Be confident. Be patient with yourself. Don't let up. Don't give up too soon. Okay, if it takes you 10 years, it takes you 10 years. There's a guy, one of the top masters runners we have here in the United States of America right now, who's a supporter of RunDreamAchieve. His name's James. He told me it took him, I believe it was 12 years to break the 3-hour marathon, and he finally did it when he was 52 years old. Okay, he's now 52. I mean, this is phenomenal effort to be able to run that fast. I mean, it's fast. It's extremely tough to break 3 hours, as you all know, at any age, but to do it at 52, he was willing to put in that type of effort for that long of a period of time. Okay, it's not natural. It's not normal to continue to live like a monk for that long, that amount of time. Okay, because it's natural. It's natural to want to give up or to let up too soon. Okay, so be tenacious about what you're doing. Believe in yourself. Go back and watch. Go on the magnifying glass icon here on the channel and type in sub 3-hour marathon. I've made a lot of videos on this particular topic that I think will help you. So I wish you all the very best in your training and in your build up to breaking the 3-hour marathon. I know you all can do it. Okay, and I hope these these tips and strategies that I've discussed in this video has helped you, and more importantly, psychologically has helped you. Because again, you got to get in that frame of mind that, hey, maybe I'm a 3:40 marathoner right now, but you got to see yourself getting under the finish line, seeing that time, 2:58 or 2:59:59 on the clock. You have to visualize it happening before it actually is reality in your life. You have to train the subconscious mind, okay? To do something, you have to train the body, but you also have to train the mind to do something before it actually occurs. That's what helped me, okay? I was a 5:30 1600 meter athlete and an 11:30 3200 meter athlete when I ran the 1600 and 3200 meter the first time as a freshman in high school. Running those types of times in a 2:19 marathoner time does not equate, okay? I was able to work myself to that type of fitness to hold 5:19 mile pace or 3:18 kilometer pace for 26.2 miles or 42.2 kilometers, because I spent from 1992 all the way up to 2007 to run that type of time. I was just committed enough for a long enough period of time. That's all it is. It's time and it's devotion for several years, okay? You have that trait. You have that capability. So don't let up. I know you can break the 3-hour marathon. Feel free to leave me a comment below if you have any other questions, and I will talk to you guys and gals all in the next video.